we sit down with our Sunday sit-down guests, and this week it is Phillies designated hitter Kyle Schwarber. Kyle, thanks for being here, and we're going to talk about how much fun this season has been for you guys, because I know it has been, but I want to go back first and talk a little bit about the path that got you here. And you grew up in Ohio, Middletown, Ohio, and a two-way sports star in high school, right? You played a little football, a little basketball, or baseball. Was football ever an option for you?
It was definitely going to be an option. I actually looked into trying to do both sports in Indiana. They told me I would have, definitely could have long snapped, and then there was an opportunity to try to play linebacker there. But I knew I wanted to play baseball. But I definitely had a lot of fun back home. We had kind of a little bit of a powerhouse there in Southwest Ohio. So it was a fun time, and definitely had some opportunities to go play, but definitely wanted to play baseball.
Yeah, I think obviously the right choice as you move forward. You go off to Indiana University to be a Hoosier to play baseball there. Tell me what that time was like for you. I mean, an accomplished player right out of the gate. Terrific freshman year, terrific sophomore year. Take me through that time for you, because you didn't spend a whole lot of time in the minor leagues. That really was your minor league system, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. Showing up there as a freshman, I think they won the Big Ten maybe 2 years ago, and we had a really good freshman class come in and some really good sophomores ahead of us and some good leadership with our seniors, and we were kind of just this young team going out there and trying to figure it out, and next thing you know, we wound up being in the Big Ten championship game against Purdue, and playing against Kevin Pilecki and guys like that, and we were a win away from making a regional, and then we go into the summer there, and we have like 6 guys go to the Cape Cod League, and that's kind of where a lot of the top talent around the country goes to play summer baseball, and all of our guys had really good summers, and it was, we come back and guys are asking us questions about how it was, and we told them it was still the same game, and that we can square up with any team out there. And next thing you know, we found our way into being ranked in top 25, hosting a regional, went to Florida State and won 2 games right out of the gate for the Super Regional. We went to Omaha and won a game, and then lost a couple tough games there against Mississippi State, and we lost the game to Oregon State. Matt Boyd shut us out and won nothing. And after that, we were really hungry again, and we came out. We were my junior year. We were we were the 5th national seed. We had a couple guys. Me and Sam Travers were on the USA team, and got to play with guys like Trey and a lot of other big leaguers. Matt Chapman, Bradley Zimmer. He spent some time here. A lot of other guys who you'll see if you look up that team, and we go 5 national seed, and we get walked off by Tommy Eben, hits a walk-off home run into our college career, and next thing you know, I was drafted, and I was in Boise, 2.5 weeks later for A-ball.
It's amazing how quickly it all goes, right? I mean, now you sit back and you're sitting here, 10 major league seasons under your belt, or you're in your 10th major league season, and it all goes by, I would imagine, in a blink of an eye. I mean, that seems the way life goes for all of us nowadays, right?
Yeah, it was funny, being back in Chicago. I was talking to one of the writers there, and we were talking about being the draft class, and looking at I was in the same draft class as Cease and Justin Steele, and we were all with the Cubs, and everyone has this pictures about how 10 years down the line is going to look, and it just didn't pan out anything like that, right? But it's crazy that you can just remember that, getting that call, sitting down. I was at a golf course in Ohio getting the call, being drafted, and signing right away, going to Boise, hopping on the bus, and then getting called off and going to A-ball, and then that next year you're in Double-A and you get a call saying, hey, you're coming to the big leagues, and it was a whirlwind of a time, and winning a World Series, right? Like it feels like that was yesterday when it was freaking almost 8 years ago, right? So it's crazy how fast time goes, but also too it also goes slow, right? Because you really relish your time, and you take in all these different memories and all these different experiences you have with your path and where you're at, and all these different people that you meet, and it's time that when this ends, that you're going to wonder. Hopefully you lived it all up to the best of your abilities.
Let me take you back to that draft class, because I was taking a look at the list. I mean, you went number 4 overall in 2014, but then right behind you is Aaron Nola, teammate, right? And then behind him, Hoffman went number 9 that year, Jeff Hoffman, and Trey Turner, number 13. All teammates now. All kind of at the the height of your careers, I guess is a fair statement. Hopefully that lasts for a couple of years to come. But nice to be able to share this with them, knowing that you all came up around the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You kind of look back and you see the draft class, right? And I think there was someone posted not too long ago, and we're like, wow, we have a lot of guys that were in that draft class that hit, and it's crazy to see. You got 4 of them that were on this team, and that it's not a shock why they perform, right? They're able to do it in college, and obviously everyone has a different path to get to where they're at, but to see everyone having success here in the big leagues and doing it at a high level, it's not a shock.
Speaking of success in the big leagues, going back and looking at your career, you're in your 10th season. So the previous 9 seasons, 8 of them have ended in the postseason. You just talked about your collegiate days and how you got to play postseason ball in college. It's kind of remarkable. I mean, are you able to kind of sit back and put that in perspective yet, or is that something that's going to happen when you're all said and done?
Yeah, for me, it's my first time being in the postseason in 2015. Chris Norfia, he was in his 10th year, and he put it in perspective right away. He goes, "You don't know how lucky you are. I played this game for 10 years. This is my first postseason," right. And that was able to connect well, just because I was spoiled at the time, right? I walk into a really good team, and we make the postseason, and then we continued to make the postseason all except 1 year, and then. Obviously, that was kind of like that's what I wanted to do. It's the best form of baseball, and it's an addicting form of baseball. Whenever you're in the postseason, you have environments that are amazing to play in, and just all your senses are heightened, and every game's important. But it's just when there's it could be your last one. It's just everything else is heightened, and coming into being a free agent, and trying to figure out where you want to be. You want to be on a team that's going to win, and luckily it lines up where a team that wants to win wants you to be on their team, and you end up here, and we make a World Series in 22, and we were a game away from a World Series last year, and we want to be able to keep fighting our way to where we're going to put ourselves in that position again, and hopefully be the ones holding up the trophy at the end of the year. And I'm always I've always said it, it's not easy. This game's not easy, and anyone can beat anyone, especially in the postseason. And that's why being able to try to be as consistent as you can throughout a year, and having experience, and also too having a little bit of adversity and being able to fight through it, and puts you all in really good places when you go into a postseason format. And things might not always line up the way you want it to, but you always got to fight to the end.
Is that what the Cubs and the Red Sox and the Phillies all had in common in your mind? Is that the ability to kind of fight through whatever's put in front of you? Only the 2016 Cubs won it all, but to get to where you had gotten each and every year, and this team over the last couple of years, there has to be something that connects winning teams, right?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I've seen on being on team to team that's been able to have successful seasons and going to the postseason is obviously there's talent on paper. You gotta be a good team to make it deep into a playoff format, but also too just I feel like the biggest thing is the camaraderie within the group of everyone really enjoying playing baseball with each other, and everyone trusts each other, and everyone knows that the guy behind me can get the job done as well. And the more fun that you have, right, is going to be a key component to success on the field, right? That if you're dreading coming to the field every day, you're not going to have success. Everyone looks forward here, coming to the field, talking with everyone, getting out there, early work, hitting on the field, and going out there and competing. And the best thing too is that we're going to have fun, but also too we enjoy winning. But when you hate losing more, that's a key component. Every time you lose a game, right? That no one's happy. You're not going to go 162-0. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And but every time that I know this team walks out, and all the other teams I've been on, they expected to go win a baseball game, and that's the attitude you got to have whenever you do walk out there on that field. Because if you have any doubt creep in your head, it's over. It's done. So. The attitude, the camaraderie, the talent we have on all those teams I've been on is lined up right in the aspect that's going to take a deep run into the postseason.
And I would imagine also accountability, right? I mean, there has to be accountability. There certainly seems to be accountability inside this clubhouse. And part of that is strong veteran leadership, which you're credited with being a big part of in this clubhouse. Do you consider yourself a leader? And if so, what kind of leader would you say you are?
For me, it's just I like being myself. I've never said I'm this guy, I'm that guy. That I'm just going to be myself. I've been around a lot of really good veteran players, and early in my days, and you pick up on things, you listen, you sit there and just don't talk, and you hear what these guys are saying, and things connect, they ring, right? And then you have all these experiences, right? Like, I feel like experience is such a great thing to have, because people who might not have that experience can ask questions, or you're able to share experiences, and people can kind of get a little bit of a glimpse into what it could be like. And I didn't spend much time in the minor leagues. I've definitely had a funky time in the big leagues early in my career, and luckily been able to put things together. But all those experiences have been key to forming the person and the player that you are. And if you're able to share those with different people, that and kind of help them out along the way, and it might be some things that they might never heard before, and if that can resonate with someone, that's awesome. And I think the biggest thing too is also being able to listen, right? You can listen to what people have to say and what they have to hear. It doesn't always have to be baseball. It could be off the field. It could be whatever it is. That just having a conversation goes such a long way with. And not just in baseball, and just in the world, right? So it's for me, I just like to be me, and just go from there.
All right, this 2024 team, what do you think you guys have learned from 2022 and 2023 that will help you perhaps when the postseason comes around?
I think the biggest things that, like I said, is one, experience, but two, also kind of the way the last couple of years have gone for us, where we weren't in the, we didn't win the division. We kind of fought our way in there in 22. 23, it wasn't all peaches and roses, right? We had to find ways to get the jobs done, and I feel like coming into this year, we got off to a good start, and obviously we're kind of trying to find our way through it again and getting back to that stride. And I think that's all good things that you're able to go back on. Is that there's a fight in us, right? That there's no just everything's not right, it's not going to go our way attitude. It's we're going to figure it out, and we're going to keep fighting to the very end. And I just feel like if you can have that attitude, even though you are in say we're in first place, right? Even if you have that attitude in your first place, that that's only a positive thing that can keep helping you throughout the course of a year.
All right, before I let you go, I like to end things on a little bit of a lighter note. We used to call this Minute with Murph over there on the television side of things. So obviously we talked about it. You went to Indiana University, so you're a Hoosier. I hear the word Hoosier, I think great sports movies. So I wonder, what is the best sports movie of all time?
Oh, man. I would probably say Remember the Titans, or I would say Major League. That's another fun one too.
It's one of my all-time favorites, so I agree with you on that one. All right, you grew up in Middletown, Ohio, Middletown High School. Hall of Famer Chris Carter, former Philadelphia Eagle, wide receiver, a Hall of Famer in the NFL, also went to that school. So, which one of your teammates, if they concentrated solely on football, could have perhaps ended up in Canton?
Man, I know JT was a really good quarterback in high school. I think a sneaky one that could be is Gregory Soto. He's kind of got that speed, and he's a big individual. It's kind of scary watching him run in from that bench clearing in Colorado a couple of years ago. That's not something I'd want to mess with. I feel like if you put him at an end or you put him at linebacker, that wouldn't be a fun guy to hit.
I can see that. Defensive end for sure, coming around the corner. All right, finally, when the career is all said and done, hopefully many, many years down the road, where will we most likely find Kyle Schwarber? Would it be on the Food Network, on the Travel Channel, or on HGTV?
Probably HGTV.
All right.
I got acres where I live, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of projects whenever I'm done, and trying to do a lot of home improvement things. So probably that thing. Just keeping busy and trying to not stress about 100-mile-an-hour fastball anymore.
That'd be nice. You'll be able to relax a little bit. All right, we'll see you on HGTV. Kyle, appreciate your time as always, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.